Nissa, Vastwood Seer versus Karlov of the Ghost Council. One land in hand and a bunch of expensive spells is no good. That's not great, but we'll keep it and hope that our opponent doesn't go off on us. They are on the play, so Karlov is a formidable commander. Putting a land on top is good, though. Means that we can get into a turn 3 Nissa if we want to. Karlov of the Ghost Council is a 2-mana Orzhov commander. Whenever you gain life, you put a couple of +1/+1 counters on it. And then for Orzhov and remove 6 +1/+1 counters, you can exile a creature. This card of our opponent's goes really well with Soul Sisters, all that type of stuff. Anything that gets you little pings of life, incremental points of life. They'll all trigger Karlov. It goes really well with Archangel of Thune and stuff like that. I do have my own Karlov deck that I ran and it did do quite nicely. Speaking of doing quite nicely, Lignify is really good for us. Now they are in the colours that can get rid of a Lignify, so there's no guarantee that that'll stick around for any length of time. Might even die right now. No, they just get into Bontu's Monument. The only one I use is the white one that gets warrior tokens, so I always have to look at these. Oh yeah, this is just a little drain life feature that would put counters on Karlov. We'll just go in for Nissa here, I think, because it guarantees us a land drop next turn. When Nissa enters, we can search our library for a basic forest and put it into our hand. And then when a land enters, if we control 7 or more lands, she flips over into a Planeswalker. And the Planeswalker is reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, you put it into play, otherwise you put it in your hand. -2 is you get a legendary 4/4 token. And -7, untap up to 6 lands. They become 6/6 elemental creature tokens that are still lands. Actually, they don't become tokens, just 6/6 elemental creatures. That's not a limit break that we ever use. It's usually just the top 2 that we're worried about. Okay, Reclamation Sage goes for that Bontu's Monument, I think. Or do we just go for the Life Crafter's Bestiary? I don't think I mind going for that. So next turn when we go for Rec Sage, we can actually pay a green and draw a card. And at the beginning of our turn, we'll get a scry from that. No point swinging in because our opponent has a 0/4 in play. And now tapping down for 4 mana may well be a board wipe. Nope, Return to Dust, that's exactly what I was talking about. It does encourage our opponent to use it though, which is good. That means that we don't have to play around anymore. We can go for Reclamation Sage onto the Bontu's Monument. And that is one less source of gaining life that our opponent has. They only have 3 cards left in hand. We'll definitely use that. And then down comes Sakura Tribe Elder. And we'll be into 6 mana next turn, so I think I'd quite like to get into Elemental Bond first, before we get into Green Warden of Marassa. Offer up the trade to our opponent, which I'm sure they won't take, and they don't. Yeah, Elemental Bond next turn, I think, and then Green Warden of Marassa can fetch us back the Sakura Tribe Elder. And equipping up Karlov with the Sword of Light and Shadow, which can get back a creature from the graveyard. And it'll also gain them 3 life if they hit us, which they're not going to because we'll throw Sakura Tribe Elder in the way. And then sacrifice it in response for a land. And we can deal with our opponent's not Swords to Plowshares, their Sword of Light and Shadow with a Beast Within anyway. Which we will be able to hold up next turn. We'll have 6 mana, at least, and we'll play Elemental Bond and hold up mana for Beast Within. Alright, Tireless Tracker would be Yeah, that's tempting after an elemental bond. I think we'll actually go for that because we do have 2 blockers in play. So I think we can risk getting down the tireless tracker here. If they board wipe, they get rid of their own Karlov anyway. Okay, Steel Hellkite deals with Sword of Light and Shadow as well as our opponent's commander. We'll just leave back Nissa and the Rex Sage as a blocker. They might have some kind of spot removal for us. We don't mind losing Nissa in this deck because I say it every single time we play Nissa, but for those who don't know, she does pay for half of her command attacks when she comes out. Ooh, Sorin Grim Nemesis. Might be a new target for the Beast Within. Reveal the top card of your library and put it into your hand. Each opponent loses life equal to the CMC. And then -X deals X damage to a creature or planeswalker. You gain X life. They're going for -2 onto Tireless Tracker, which makes perfect sense. And they will gain life, bumping up Karlov to a 4/4, and then +2/+2 makes it a 6/6. I think I might actually, if they swing in with Karlov here, I think, no, they don't. Had they have swung in with Karlov there, I think I would have let it through and then used these two to kill off Sorin. As it stands now, I think we have to Beast Within the Sorin. Well, that's one way of doing it. We can now duplicate our opponent's commander, and that will clear the way for us attacking into Sorin Grim Nemesis. So that's a really good turn for us. 2 cards our opponent is down to, and I think we'll probably want to go for Steel Hellkite next turn and try and get rid of that Light and Shadow. I don't mind our opponent's commander being on the field as long as they can't gain life. They can play and equip their Karlov this turn if they want to. Okay, instead of that, they're going for whenever a land enters under an opponent's control, gain 3 life. Well, I don't mind them gaining 3 life as long as Karlov isn't in play. Alright, we get a flipped Nissa now. Now that we've played our 7th land. I think I just want to draw a card. See if we put a land into play or not. We do, so we've gained our opponent's 6 life thus far, thanks to that Shattered Angel. Luckily our opponent's commander wasn't in play. We'll go for the Steel Hellkite, and that can tangle with the Shattered Angel if our opponent wishes it. Yeah, we'll hold those 2 cards back. There's no sense in swinging into a 3/3. Worst case scenario, we just have to blow up the Shattered Angel with Beast Within and then swing past and kill something with Steel Hellkite. Ooh, Noxious Gearhulk is probably going after our Steel Hellkite. Luckily we have Green Warden of Marassa. I think we'll definitely get that back. They're certainly scared of it, and they're probably going in at Nissa here. They can fly over our creatures, they are. Alright, Scavenging Ooze, not of any relevance yet, I don't think. Another land enters, giving them 3 life again. I think we're just going to have to outramp our opponent and try and get lots of value here and forego all the life that we're giving them. I'm sure we can soon knock them down a peg or 2 on the life total. We just have to hope that they don't have that artifact that where you can pay 3 life, not 3 life, you can pay 50 life and deal 50 damage to somebody. Do we care about holding up Beast Within? I think we have to hold up Beast Within because our opponent has a flying creature that if they get down Karlov next turn, they can equip up the sword to the flyer and hit us and then gain life. So I think we need to... Yeah, I think we need to hold up Beast Within. Alright. Our opponent going in for a 5-4. So I think we'll block... How do we want to block here? We can just go for Duplicant and Rex Sage. That will kill the Gear Hulk, and it'll also give us options. We can either grab back Duplicant or Reclamation Sage, or Beast Within with the Green Warden of Marassa when that dies. Karmic Guide, that was the plan. Unfortunately, we don't have Scavenging Ooze down, but we do know now that they do have a means of interacting with the graveyard, so getting down Scavenging Ooze sooner rather than later wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. Let's go for Beast Within onto our opponent's Sword of Light and Shadow. And then when this thing dies, we can grab back Duplicant, I think. Yeah, I think we get Duplicant and we get rid of this thing. They can pay 5 to keep their Karmic Guide if they want to. The protection from black isn't going to help them. Avenger of Zendikar. Yeah, we'll go for the Duplicant and get their source of life gain off the field. Yeah, and there we go. Our opponent thought about it for a second, but finally decided to allow Duplicant in. We'll exile the 3/3. Now that does mean our opponent can start getting damage through with the Noxious Gear Hulk. Yeah, just in case our opponent has anything tricksy like they did last turn. No, we'll just go for Solemn Simulacrum. I was thinking about Scavenging Ooze there and starting to exile stuff from my opponent's graveyard, but I don't imagine this is a graveyard-based deck. I imagine it's just a little bit of interaction for the deck, a kind of sub-theme. They only have one card in hand anyway. Plus there's no creatures in the graveyard. Alright, there we go. We can block the beast with Solemn Simulacrum and just let 5, 6, 7 damage through. If they keep the Karmic Guide, they may not tap out for Karmic Guide. Getting that out of the graveyard sooner rather than later would be good. I think it's worth the 3 mana for Scavenging Ooze and an activation to get rid of that. Down comes Karlov, 1 card in hand. We'll see if it's life gain. Yeah, in a way it is. Falconwrath Noble. So we don't want any creatures to die here. So we're just going to take 8, I think. Yeah, I think we just take 8. Falconwrath Noble is going to gain them a lot of life with a lot of separate triggers. I think we have to get down Steel Hellkite. Yeah, we get down Steel Hellkite. They're down to 0 cards in hand, so they're in top deck mode. They can block with Falconwrath Noble if they want to. We'll get down Oracle of Muldiah as well. Maybe play a land off the top. No, we do get Tooth and Nail though. Primeval Titan could be of some use to us. I think we need 10 power, don't we? 10 power, we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we've got enough. Yeah, I think we'd just take the Primeval Titan here. And then we can get into Maze of Ith. And then, oh, we get a Guy's Cradle on top. That's really nice. So we can get into... Yeah, Karmic Guide isn't going to do anything even if they reanimate it, so I think we'll just go for Nissa here. And I think we've played both our lands for the turn. Soon find out. Alright, we at least have 2 lands to play next turn, which is nice. We'll offer up the trade to our opponent, which I'm sure they won't take. There's no real sense in them taking this or offering up the trade. They can... Yeah, we can kill their Falconwrath Noble, which we'd really like to do. If they don't want to block Steel Hellkite next turn, we will put 4 mana into it to kill off that Falconwrath Noble, and I'm not sure if it triggers off itself. Oh, Grim Tutor, does that put it on top? No, it puts it into their hand, unfortunately. That's a really good top deck for our opponent. Falconwrath Noble... Yeah, so when Falconwrath Noble dies, it triggers the 1 life drain, which will put a couple of counters on Karlov. I wonder what they go for here. It might just be Path to Exile or something for that Steel Hellkite. Well, that tells me that it's a board wipe. How much are we going to take here? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, I'm not positive that it is a board wipe. I don't think they can buff Karlov up so much that it'll kill us. So I'm just going to take this against my better judgment. I could have blocked with... Yeah, I could have blocked 3 of that damage with Nissa because she won't die, which won't trigger Falconwrath Noble. Yeah, so in hindsight, perhaps should have saved ourselves 3 life there. Yeah, it is a Wrath of God. I'm actually not against that. We'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think it's 7 triggers there. Yeah, we draw a card with Solemn. We definitely want to do that. That is the forest that was on top. Yeah, I think we can safely always yield to Falconwrath Noble. Now we have to be really careful with any more damage that we take here. Our opponent seems to be getting some good top decks on the go. Terastodon lets us pile on some damage, but so does Avenger of Zendikar. Also, Avenger of Zendikar really goes well with Gaia's Cradle. We draw a card with Elemental Bond there. And we get 10, 11, 12, 13 tokens, I think it is, if my arithmetic is correct. Okay, Elvish Mystic. Might as well play the forest. And we'll always yes and yield to these triggers. And then why don't we get down a Primeval Titan. And that will be a couple more landfall triggers for us, as well as an Elemental Bond trigger. Now then, what lands do we want? I think Nykthos and Maze of Ith, just to play it safe, in case our opponent manages to try and sneak damage through on us. Growing Rites of Itlamok is another Gaia's Cradle, plus hopefully it'll put some cards in our hand. Okay, we can reveal a creature card here, Woodfall Primus or Woodland Bellower. I think I prefer Woodfall Primus. And then everything else can go back in any order. Now then, Elvish Mystic. Just to give us more mana with Gaia's Cradle. I'm not actually sure how much we're getting here. That'll be 14, 15, 16 mana from Gaia's Cradle. I am going to blow up some of our own lands here. I'm just going to go in for an Alpha Swing next turn. We'll blow up Mosswort Bridge, if it will select it. Okay, yes, we will. Oh, okay. Well, it wouldn't let us select any more for some reason, or it didn't highlight the Mosswort Bridge. That was strange. I think we've got enough damage anyway, but yeah, we are perhaps playing into a board wipe with Terrastodon, but we have plenty of mana. We'll use the ability and get ourselves... Oh, and Great Aurora. That's tempting. How much is Nissa? Yeah, I think I'd rather go for Scavenging Ooze and get rid of our opponent's graveyard here. So that will be Noxious Gearhulk gone. This is life gain as well if we get rid of creatures. Falconwrath Noble we definitely want gone. We also want the Karmic Guide out of the graveyard. And then, just in case they have Yawgmoth's Will, we'll go for Grim Tutor and Sorin Grim Nemesis. And we don't want them to have a board wipe either. There we go. I think we are done there. And then that transforms our Growing Rites of Itlamok. So we have a hell of a lot of mana for next turn. See if this card does it for our opponent. No, it doesn't. It wasn't likely that it was going to. Karlov of the Ghost Council doing some really nice stuff there. Wasn't so nice for us, but luckily we managed to just concentrate on ramping out and pretty much not dying, keeping our opponent's life gain triggers off the board was the main priority. And then we managed to cast Nissa a couple of times, and like I say, just kept ramping until we could set up a massive alpha swing like this. So hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you all in the next one. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.